Welcome to 3 Steps to Break Through Money Objections. Never discount yourself or your services ever again. I'm Marilyn August, facilitator and developer of this course and the book, Sales Genius Mindset. I started my career not as a salesperson. Last thing in the world I thought about. I started as a corporate trainer. I was just one of those people who never fit in. I worked for some very well-known international companies, but I got what I call the defined kick in the butt. So I built the field. I believed that line I heard in that wonderful movie, Field of Dreams. I built the field, and unlike Field of Dreams, they did not come. I knew nothing about sales. So like the academic that I am, I became both a student and a facilitator and a coach on that fascinating subject of sales. And when it comes to sales, there's 2 parts. This course is going to overview both of them. There's the first part, and perhaps the one that we need to spend some time on. That's the reflective part, the mindset part, the part that most sales trainings tend to ignore. But notice it's the same salespeople getting the awards time and time again. There's a reason for that. Part 2, though, of this course is a skill set. You will leave the course with scripts, words that you can put on sticky notes, take with you, and hopefully internalize. Because Profit GPS, my training and consulting company, integrates mindset, behavior, and skills for a direct route for results you take to the bank. As Albert Einstein said, you cannot solve problems with the same level of consciousness that created them. That's what this course is based on, and that's what all the work I do with my clients is based on, is his quote, "Knowing what goes on internally helps us to change our external world." I love this cartoon. It's one of my favorite cartoons because salespeople like to talk. They think if they give more information, they'll never have to talk about money. Because money is the last taboo. Nobody wants to talk about money. We can know everything there is to know about something, but we do not know their finances. Financial matters are still held very close to the heart. So let's start out with what is money. Before we can deal with objections, we have to know what we're talking about. Well, it used to be just paper. Not anymore. Most of it's done electronically. It's in the ethers. We use credit cards, we use debit cards, we use all kinds of electronic transfer today. Money never changes what it is. It's an agreement. An agreement that a 1 with a lot of zeros is much better to have than a 1 with very few zeros. We like those zeros in our bank accounts, lots of them. Money is actually just a transaction value. We trade that money for things that we value, need, want. I don't do wants and likes because everything I want is a like. Or everything I like is a want. Yeah, I get those 2 mixed up. You can understand. Well, this is a blue car. It's a very nice car. It's a car a salesperson tried to sell me one time because it was such a great deal. I'm sure you've never heard a salesperson say that. Well, what that salesperson didn't know is that even though I'm a redhead, I don't value blue. The only kind of blue I want is blue gemstones. So it didn't matter what the price was. Didn't matter how great that car was. The car had no value for me because it was blue. I just don't buy blue cars. We do that constantly. We say no because there isn't enough value, and you've heard the words value proposition in the sale for us. We trade money only for what is important to us, what we value. That's why it's so important in this part of the sales process to know thyself, because every sale starts between your two ears. So step one is to know your inner game of money. Yes, money, because sales is a transaction of money. Your beliefs, your attitudes, your values, which often drive your behaviors. Believe it or not, there is a fear of success. So I put this slide on here twice because we have more than one set of values and behaviors to consider. But most of our beliefs are hidden in our unconscious mind. There's that small part of our mind that knows what we believe. There's a bigger part, like an iceberg, that's hidden. And the more that you're willing to dive in and uncover what's hidden, the more you can shift it and change it. Somebody might have said something to you when you were just a young kid that imprinted it on that subconscious. Like it's not nice to ask for money. When did you hear that? Maybe around Christmas time. You heard it wasn't nice to ask for money. And as a salesperson, what do you got to do? You got to ask for money. Now, if that isn't complicated enough, your prospect has ingrained cultural beliefs about salespeople. That's why when you go to major corporations or large companies, you never hear the word sales. You hear account manager, you hear executive, you hear all kinds of words to avoid the word sales. Sales gets a bad rap. It's not a four-letter word. It's what makes the world go round. But your prospect, just like you, has been taught that there's never enough. Or that if he saves money, he'll be a hero or she'll be a hero. It comes all with all those attitudes and beliefs into your sales process. Or I know he's charging me too much. That's a real trigger point for a lot of prospects. Because money is the last taboo. As I said before, we were taught never to talk about money. So we tend to be a little bit vague about the way we talk about money. Like the word expensive. My expensive, believe it or not, isn't your expensive. The more that people talk about that, the more confusing it gets. And we also have trigger words around money. Words that trigger our mindset without us even knowing it. There's tons of them, but we're just going to look at one that salespeople say all the time. Say the word budget. What immediately goes through your mind? There's not enough. We can't stay on budget. Budget, just the very word, sounds like a scarcity word. As a salesperson, the more you eliminate the word budget from your vocabulary, the more successful you'll be. What words can you use instead? Allocated. Funds. How can we pay for that? It's going to take a bit of conscious thinking to stop using the word budget, but I promise you, it will be worth it. Step 3 is to get under the covers of I can't afford it. People say I can't afford it, just like they say Kleenex. It's just one of those reactions. We often say it. We say it ourselves. That also would be good to eliminate those words from your vocabulary. They're substitute words, but we're not going to take the time to go into that. So when people say, I can't afford it, in school we were taught to know the answers. What salespeople tend to do when they hear those words is they tend to, quote unquote, educate, drop more features and benefits, write another proposal. Because in school we were taught to know the answers. That's how we succeeded. So the obvious conclusion would be that as salespeople, we should be able to answer the can't afford it by changing their mind. Problem is, we're mind reading. We don't know what the real issue is. And unlike school, the power is in the question. Learning to know the questions to ask is the skill set that will break through revenue roadblocks and close more deals and make more money. So learning this skill, that the power is in the question, is the number one skill to learn in breaking through money objections. If you take nothing else away from this course than these 5 words, and they become habit, you will close more deals and make more money. When somebody says, I can't afford it, your counter is, what do you mean by that? Because as we said, my expensive isn't your expensive. So get in the habit of asking questions when somebody says, we can't afford it. There's a few others, but what do you mean by that? We'll begin to divorce money from the value. So I've asked this question many times. We weren't talking about money. What would we be talking about? And you would be surprised at the answers. Sometimes I hear it would be a yes. Well, then I know that we are talking about, what do you want me to leave out? That's the next obvious question. If somebody's only objection to doing business with you is money, there is some way to find that money without discounting yourself or discounting your service. If you're selling to a company or a small business that has different compartments for different budgets, there is the money. The money's there. It just happens to be in the wrong slot. So become a partner with your prospect. Ask them where you can find the money. It's allocated somewhere. What you're really doing is looking for more information. Right now, they will get past their intellect and tell you what's really going on. Because sales is a thing of psychology. Every sale starts between your 2 ears. So the most critical part of this course, and if you're willing to go deeper, there is a Goal for the Gold workbook. It is a self-awareness workbook. It is yours if you want it. Just click on the end link and you will find out how to get Go for the Gold workbook.